It's one of Disney's most overlooked classics, the film that literally saved the studio. For today's episode, we're heading to the streets of Victorian London to ask the question, does this hidden gem still crack the case? Or has it finally gone cold?
Smile, everyone!
Then, will Seth stump me on trivia? Or will I outsmart Ratigan before the clock strikes midnight?
The production took only 1 year to complete, true or false?
And of course, how are we going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at Grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic? So grab your favorite snack, whether it's a crumpet, a spot of tea, or whatever Basil didn't knock off the table during his investigation, because the game is afoot. This is Movies at Grandma's House. Hello, hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we love to revisit the movies from our childhood to answer the question, does it still hold up? And is it family-friendly enough that even Grandma will enjoy? And I'm your host, Isaac. There's always a chance, Doctor, as long as one can think.
And this is Seth. Now, you will remember to smile for the camera, won't you? Say cheese.
Oh, it is great to see you, Seth. I'm really excited for this episode. This is a unique movie, I have to say, that we have covered. But just as a reminder for the fine folks at home, what is Grandma putting on for us to watch today?
The Great Mouse Detective.
That's right. If you have never seen this film, you don't want it spoiled, consider it spoiler territory going forward. You have been warned. Well, let's get a little bit more information about this movie, a little backstory, and some film facts. So The Great Mouse Detective was released back on July 2nd, 1986. It has now hit the big 40 anniversary. Cannot believe, 40 years ago. The budget, $14 million. The box office, $50 million. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about this more, how it was a hit for Disney, but keep that in mind. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb is at a 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 79%. Letterboxd has a 3.6 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on Disney+. It stars Vincent Price, Barry Ingram, Val Betton, Suzanne Polchek, and many more. It's an association with Walt Disney Feature Animation. And last but not least, we gotta know, how does Grandma feel about this one?
Granny's family-friendly rating for The Great Mouse Detective is a C for animated violence, adult themes, and smoking.
Yeah, actually a lot more adult content, but going on the source material, we'll get into it a little bit more. It's also the times. This was back in the 80s, again, 40 years later that this came out. Here we are looking at it today. So we'll, I'm sure, touch on a little bit more. But we want to hear from you. How would you rate this movie? And any memories that you have, be sure to leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you, the listener. We see you out there. So let's get to it. Let's jump right in. I'm really anxious to hear. What are your first memories with this movie now 40 years old?
I had never seen this before the review.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Wow.
It's going to play a part.
Wow. I love that, though, because I'm going to say I'm the complete opposite. I grew up with this one. We had practically most or all of the Disney movies on VHS. And I recall this being actually one of my favorites. Just for whatever reason, it clicked with me. And I'm a fan of Sherlock Holmes. I really like that dynamic of this detective, but he's able to decipher things. And this is what it's loosely based off of. It's kind of what inspired me to like Sherlock Holmes, I think. I own the actual whole collection of Sherlock Holmes on book form, like all the short stories. So I point to this. It kind of piqued my interest with it. I just really enjoyed that, you know, a game is afoot. There's that mystery element. And it's a much darker take in the Disney catalog. So maybe it just maybe made itself more unique and different from the movies I watched. But a fun memory, it's not fun at the time, I'm looking back on, but we used to live in Dayton, Ohio. We moved to Columbus when I was 8. My aunt really liked this movie. And actually a nice, funny fun fact with that is that my cousin was named after the girl, but she borrowed her VHS tape and never gave it back. To this day, she still has it. So anytime after we moved, I would only watch it when I'd come to visit my aunt, and if anybody else had it. It was not so often, but I kind of like that. I wasn't watching it all the time as I got older, so it was kind of like, again, a movies at Grandma's house kind of idea. So that's kind of my first memories of it. You know, it's still kind of been a while since I'd seen it, but I got to know, if you've never seen this before, what were your expectations?
Honestly, I had zero expectations for this one.
Okay. And we'll talk about, this is kind of an overlooked Disney movie. You don't really hear it brought up too much. Maybe we'll see in the reviews later on the kind of consensus. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like people have forgotten about this one. But going to expectations, I mean, my expectations was, is this going to be good for my kids? I got talk about it's a little darker. It's got a little bit more of an edge to it. And some of them, I think, saw it, but not all of my kids saw it. So it was, is this going to be something they can enjoy? Maybe it's not going to be too frightening for them. We'll get into that a little bit more. But that was kind of my expectations on it. It had been a while since I'd seen it. So just hoping for the best. Well, before we get to the plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors.
Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today.
Okay, we got to take the VHS out of that clamshell. We got to put it in the VCR and press play.
Guns and detectives. In this animated kids movie, we find a toy maker and father has been taken by an evil rat. In order to find him, his daughter seeks out a mouse version of Sherlock Holmes. In this rather adult movie, we are introduced to lots of distinctive personalities. But will Basil save the day? Find out as Granny puts on another classic?
Oh, there's a lot to get into with this one, no doubt. Like you brought out, this is a, right off the bat, it does kind of tell you this is not going to be your everyday Disney movie. I think my hunch is that Disney was trying to get away from that princess and happy tone. The 80s were wild, I gotta say. Just look at the movies that Disney put out. You could tell they're trying to shed that image. But this actually was a very important movie in Disney. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I see that. Like, coming back to my first impression is just, this is trying to be different. Like, if you didn't tell someone this is a Disney movie, I do wonder if they could trace it back. Like, is this Disney? Because it's a pretty frightening opening scene of a bat kidnapping a father, and the daughter's right there to kind of witness it all. And that's what the mystery is finding her lost father. But I gotta know, first time watching this, what's your first impressions?
First of all, what am I watching? This has some terribly dark elements to it and some scenes that would just leave you speechless, really, to be honest.
I can't wait you to dive into those scenes. I'm going to say I do have nostalgia goggles with this one. So I will not defend them, though, because this is, I'll just say right off the bat, it is a flawed movie. Like you're talking about. There are some moments where it's like, why is this in a Disney movie and why is it going? And you have to almost think back, okay, this was the 80s. Disney and other similar animation, they went the dark route. I mean, there's something about that. I don't know what it is. They just, I think we're done with the happy stories and we're like, we need to do something different. This is one of them. I mean, you trace it back, but I still appreciate the story because, like I mentioned, this is based off of Sherlock Holmes. I mean, it's not hiding that. I mean, it's mice underneath Sherlock Holmes, Baker Street. It's, you see a glimpse of Sherlock and Watson. They're taking on a case at one point in a scene. So there are a lot of dark elements when you're basing it off of that kind of material. I mean, a lot of mystery is like murder. There's a lot of those types of things. So how do you take that and make it into a kid's form? It's based off of a children's book that's what it is. It's mice, kind of a Sherlock Holmes version. But it does still kind of go there. I agree. Like, there's no defending some of those scenes. But I will say the story is strong. Like, it's not trying to be too complicated. It's a mystery, but it's the concept of, again, this toy maker. He gets kidnapped by this biggest criminal in London, Ratigan. And Basil is kind of that Sherlock. He is now trying to investigate, find Ratigan, and that's pretty much the premise. I mean, it's a mystery, so there's clues where he's picking it up, trying to pick up the trail. But what do you think of the story, the plot overall?
Really, the plot, it's a dark plot and in a dark movie aimed at children. And I thought, like what you said, the story premise, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, is very, very good. The plot of the film is a good plot. What they used to fill that plot time with was interesting choices for my take, but I won't really talk about it in the fun facts. But there's a lot of information I found in research where they based this off of like everything is based off of Sherlock Holmes. Like
Yeah.
the character names, like everything that happens is like based off of a Sherlock Holmes book, which is amazing. I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that you got into it too because of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But again, the plot was very, very dark, and there were a lot of things I would never have expected for sure in it.
Now I got to ask, like, give me one, because you're mentioning some, but what's just kind of pops out to you, I guess, about the plot specifically that's more on the edgier?
The first time I watched it multiple times. There's a lot of guns in this movie.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guns in this movie. And violence is a big thing. And then there's also some adult stuff going on. I don't know if we're going to talk on that or not, but it shouldn't be talked about.
No.
And then there's quite a bit of intensity. They don't really show what, I mean, I guess they kind of do show for a little bit. They don't show what happened to the queen. So that's a little bit like, oh, well, did she die? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a suspense there and kind of a lingering thoughts in several different parts of the movie where they kind of keep you in suspense, which is good writing. But for a kid's movie, I mean, it's a little bit much, if you ask me.
I get that. Yeah, that is a good point. Like it gives the stakes, and watching it, I love hearing from you because, like I said, I grew up watching this one. So hearing a fresh take today, I'm sure it was like, are they going to go there? Like, is this going to happen? I mean, there's some.
It looked like there's going to be some murders at the beginning of the movie. Not to be too blunt about it, but
oh yeah,
you know, that's what it was. It's what it looked like.
I mean, it does go there in one part. I thought. I mean, it doesn't graphically show it, but Ratigan. We'll get into the characters, but he gets upset at one point, and one of his own henchmen he feeds to a cat, and it draws it out. That is a very intense scene. It's not just he got thrown out and there's this cat. It builds that suspense up, and but we'll get into characters a little bit more, but that's one that I thought of personally. I thought you were going to, I mean, there's multiple, don't get me wrong. It's not just one thing to point at, and I'm not going to defend it. I mean, that's one thing. I have the nostalgia for this, but I will acknowledge some things might not age the best. The plot, I will say it's good plot. But yeah, there are some dark elements about it. I mean, again, like I said, you're talking about murder. Yeah, technically there is a murder that does happen about halfway through, and it leaves that impression like, yeah, it could go there for sure. Absolutely. But I can't really fault the story. I think that's one of the stronger parts of it, and it has to be good if you're basing it off of Sherlock Holmes. That's kind of the strength of Sherlock Holmes is the mysteries and the story that go along with it. I crack up because you're talking about dark elements. A fun memory that I have is going back to my aunt had this movie. I remember coming to visit and we were up late just talking and stuff. And we decided to randomly put this movie on. You just do that when you're with your cousins. Maybe that's just me, but that's something we did. And one of my cousin's friends was over too. I can't remember what time it was, but it was just stupid late. It was probably like 1 a.m. We're watching this movie. And that opening sequence with Olivia's dad, Flabbersham, getting kidnapped, you know, it's so dramatic and tense, and it's quiet. And then you hear Olivia, you know, father. My cousin's friend's like, what happened to the dad? We just busted out laughing. It was like, did you not see this bat like break into their house, and there's like a shadow silhouette of him shaking him and taking him away? And it was just like, we lost it. It was like that factoring of it was late and we're tired. But that's a memory that every time I watch that scene now, I just think of that. What happened to the father? It's a silly thing to add in there, but you got to talk about the characters going on with the plot. It's a big driving force of this plot because you have Basil the detective and Ratigan, who are competing rivals. So I got to know, since it's the first time watching it, what did you think of the characters?
So honestly, I thought the voiceovers were just wonderful. Each character had its distinctive voice, and they really moved the story forward. I loved each of like they all brought out something special and unique, and I really enjoyed the what was it, like 3-4 main characters the most. And you know, I just was kind of shocked at how intense some of the characters were, but it was interesting, and I do recall that time period of being like that sometimes for not just Disney but some other, you know, movies and things. But the characters were really cool. I really enjoyed them. I even like one of my favorite parts of the movie actually was the beginning where the father had made the singing toy for the daughter. And I really liked the way they set that up. And then of course, then the intensity breaks in. But yeah, there's a lot of intense scenes in this. I would say like 70% of the movie is intense.
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the characters, I agree with you. And again, I try to take the nostalgia out of it, but I could go on about that dynamic of Basil and Ratigan. And
Mhm.
if you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, obviously Basil is Sherlock, but Ratigan is actually Sherlock's biggest rival, Moriarty. That was his, like, every time he tried to get him, he was a step or two ahead of him. And that's the character, the plot
Mhm.
driving force, that Basil is after Ratigan, but Ratigan just gets away. He's just always a step or two ahead. And that's the fun dynamic of the mystery detective storyline is, Ratigan's behind actually capturing Olivia's dad, Faversham, because he's a toy maker and is making this robot to impersonate the queen. And then he's going to take over this, I guess, a civilization of rats in London. Same idea. They have a queen and stuff. I guess you could really nitpick things if you want, but it works. For me, it's that own world building that's going on. But I could talk for at length. Probably this was a great introduction for me of the whole hero versus villain dynamic. I love villains that just feel like they're overmatched to the hero. The hero has no chance because if he's outmatching Basil, which is his strength, his smarts, what is he going to do to defeat him? Because Ratigan is this rat. He's a brute. He's stronger, and that's what adds so much to it. Like you said, there is an intensity. There's a final showdown. But we'll get back to it. I mean, again, I could talk more, but I love those characters, like you're saying, that you have Basil, you have what is Watson, but it's Dawson. He's that doctor who's like his associate. And then Olivia is the daughter. She's trying to get her father back. Those are the main three. But I mean, Ratigan is just, I don't know. He's kind of the scene stealer. I want to hear your take. What did you think of Ratigan? That kind of plays in what you're saying. He is a big part of the intensity.
Before we get there, what was with his partner, the doctor? Is it Dawson? You said,
Yeah, Dawson. He's like Watson.
What was with the beginning where he didn't go outside immediately? Like there's like several seconds before he follows. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and the bat fidget.
It's kind of weird. I watched it multiple times and I noticed it more and more. Each time I watched it, I was like, wait a second, why isn't he following? He's like taking forever to get going.
Oh, he's just slow behind.
Really weird.
Maybe I didn't notice that as much, but maybe it's just playing up. He's just,
slower.
Slower. And I hate to say it, but back then being fat meant you meant slow. And it's like,
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. But anyway, Ratigan is a great villain. Great villain. Some of the scenes were a little too intense, but just wonderful voiceover work. And I'll get into that in the fun facts. Just really, really well done. And it was like, it almost felt like a whole nother genre of movies, like that nothing that, you know what I mean? Like the way that they did this voiceover work and the characters and everything was like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And I will give it that. That's for sure.
I agree. And I thought to myself, am I being biased of like the nostalgia? But I really do believe this is one of my favorite voiceovers I mean, I can't sit here and say, is it the best? But it's just one of my favorites because
it's one of the best we've covered. I would agree with that.
Okay. Because I'm like, I know that's my taste because I think I can admit with this movie, it's kind of a niche movie. I don't think this is going to always hit for everybody, but just happened to hit for me. I like that mystery element, but adding such a menacing voice like Vincent Price, it's just like, how do you top that? Like, I'm trying to think of anyone else that could have been Ratigan. I cannot think of it. And I even like, at times I caught myself, I'm like, I'm going to test this out. I actually would like close my eyes and just listen to his voice. And he's just such a talented voice because he was able to have this very, sinister voice, but that he could be really intense about. And that is exactly what Ratigan is. And that's why he's so terrifying. We've talked at length on villains, and those are the scariest to me is when they flip a switch. They're your best friend 1 minute, and then they turn the next. And obviously that's what happens with the henchman. I mean, they call him, that's his thing. Don't call him a rat because he doesn't want to. Ratigan is in his name. I fully admit that's kind of like, okay, but your name is Ratigan. That is kind of okay, we'll roll with it. But yeah, he's, I'll just say in my top 3 favorite Disney villains. We've talked about other villains. And since we've considered a few Disney movies, I don't know if I would put him in the top, but he's right there. I mean, he's in the top 3 for me. And a big part of that is he's terrifying. He is just, like you said, the intensity is dialed up, maybe even higher than any other villain. I'm trying to think of like the intensity part of it, not just overall. But I mean, he's a scene stealer. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's just terrifying. You were Oh, did you feel a little scared even watching it today at times?
Well, I mean, the movie's so intense. I don't know how you couldn't. But the scene in particular that shows his character is when they're in the the tower, or the clock tower, or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he's trying to kill Basil, and it's just creepy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. The artist went all out for sure.
Yes. I could like dissect that scene at length because I don't know what it is. I really enjoy that final sequence as much as it's dark, as much as it's intense. I can fully admit that, right? Like it's not, I'm going to say this is amazing to everybody. It's just the build up and the payoff because up to that point, Ratigan outsmarted Basil and he did him in with those traps. And that's another funny scene. I just find it funny that I couldn't think of a trap to give you. So I did them all, it's just that character of wanting to get back at Basil. Up to that point, he outsmarted Basil. But he was able to get out of it. And then it's like that scene was a final showdown of not just good versus evil, but it was like you said, he showed his true, oh man, I don't know. It's just amazing to watch that payoff of all that time he's holding back and he just goes all out rat. And it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying to see him at that spot. I mean, what'd you think what was going through your mind when you first saw him like turning into that?
I didn't know how to take it. Honestly, but what I really like about those scenes is that Basil beats him with his intellect, and I like how he's always finds a way out or a way ahead, and I appreciated that the way they wrote it was that they're always combating, and it's that somehow they don't lose, they keep going, and it's amazing to see the story play out in that sense.
Yes. You hit it on the head. Exactly. That's where I think this was like my early beginnings of that hero and villain. It's just done in a good way. It's not just, well, the hero is going to prevail just because. On paper, Ratigan, I go back to, he has the smarts that match him and he's stronger. So you're thinking in your mind, like, how is he going to outmatch him at this point? Because again, they're in that clock tower and it just becomes an actual battle. It's not a battle of wits. It's an actual just trying to get Olivia back to her father and escape at that point because he's turning into this rat and they're fighting. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And when you see Basil fall off, it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But like you said, exactly, he prevails because he kept his cool. What was Ratigan's downfall? Up to that point, he was matching, if not excelling in some ways, of Basil. But he lost his cool. He became full on rat. And Basil took advantage of that. I mean, it's just so clever. I find it clever anyway of they kind of throw you one way of, the clock tower, it hits, and that's where Ratigan lost his focus. Basil had the focus the whole time, but he lost focus and forgot the clock was going to strike, and that's what makes him fall. He grabs Basil, they go down, and I just find that's a clever touch. It's very Sherlock Holmes, playing off of that happened also with Moriarty. They go over a waterfall and disappear. So there's little nods too. Maybe I appreciate it as well. When I was younger, I didn't catch them, but now coming back to it, I catch a lot more nods to Sherlock Holmes as well. So that final sequence is one of my favorite conclusions to a movie. It just has a great payoff. Up to that point, they're matching each other, and it's not, well, Basil wins just because. It's a reasonable victory, if that makes sense. So anyway, I could go on and on. I'd love to hear more. What else? Any quotes or any scenes, things like that?
I've got two quotes in a scene I'd like to talk about, but I apologize for not practicing my English accent because this would have been much better had I practiced. But my first quote is, Ratigan, no one can have a higher opinion of you than I have. And I think you're a slimy, contemptible sewer rat.
I love that line. It's so good. Backhanded insult.
The next line I wrote down was, don't worry, old fellow. It's not entirely hopeless.
Oh, I love that too. It's like Basil's character's so good at that. Like he's kind of that level with Dawson, who's always like looking at the worst side of things, those kinds of things. But I kind of go back to his character. I like he's not perfect. He's like messing up Flabbersham constantly, as much as he's this brilliant scientist. Like I love the chemicals. Like he's very elaborate on details, but he can't remember someone's name. It's a funny little running gag. But it also shows he's like human. But I love those quotes, like you're saying, that bring out. We didn't really touch on Fidget the Bat, terrifying character. But talking about quotes, I love where Olivia stomps on his foot to get away. He's like, "Ow, my foot, my only foot." And he's a legend. I think he's voiced by a legendary voice actor in Disney movies, that gravelly voice, if you look back at other Disney movies. So Disney going back to the voice acting. I keep like harping on that, but I can't get over the voice acting. It's just not those big celebrities other than maybe Vincent Price. It's just really good voice actors. And Fidget, like another quote I love is just I got the tools, I got the kit, the gears, I got no, I don't got the girl. Got the uniforms. Like, the way he talks in that voice acting, I just love. But yeah, anything else that you wanted to add?
Yes, so there's a scene. I like the scene towards the end when they're tied up and it looks like certain doom. Basil outsmarts Ratigan and then escapes. It's a very unique scene for a children's movie, like you talked about, and I like the intensity of it because it feels like this is the end. I mean, they're crescendoing to that part as that's going to be the climax of the film, and it's not. And so it's very unique in that way, and I really appreciated what they were able to do with it. That's probably my favorite scene of the movie is when they're tied up and they're trying to figure out what to do, and it looks like it's the end.
Yeah. That is a good scene. I mean, we kind of touched on it, but it also has that, I find it humorous song, Vincent Price, singing, goodbye, farewell.
Yes, I loved it.
I love that scene because it's obviously, like you said, it's kind of that climax. You're thinking, is this it? But it's also got a little bit of humor sprinkled in there. If you can do that in the right way, I'll eat that up every time. So, okay, well, so much we can unpack. I think we've talked a lot, but got to know because, again, this is 40 years old. I'm sure you've got some good fun facts.
All right, so I'm going to start off the bang. So Vincent Price, and you may know this, realized his lifelong dream. He always wanted to voice a Disney film.
Oh, man.
So this was like one of his biggest gets. Like he wanted this in his career, and actually I read somewhere else that this was one of his favorite roles, if not his favorite role.
That's so awesome. Like, I appreciated his role, and I think part of it is you can feel the sincerity of, like, he's having fun with it.
Yes.
Again, just the changing of he's so sinister, but then I'm this and that. And we didn't even talk about, like, the music, the Ratigan song. That's one of my favorite, like, voice acting quality. If you just close your eyes and listen when he's just like, well, it hasn't always been champagne and crumpets and this and that. I haven't had a good night's sleep. Like, just that, I don't know how he does it. It's just so good. So good. And you can just tell he's having a ball doing it.
I'm hoping I blow you away with this one. So John Cleese was the original choice to play Basil.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, man. I mean, that might work, but I mean, I also give it to, it's Barry Ingram. Mm-hmm. I went on about Vincent Price, like, same thing with him. Like,
he did an amazing job.
Like, it's such subtle little details. I could talk at length, but the one thing I'll just say is, like, going back to the chemical, he gets that list from Fidget and he puts it in the chemical set. He's talking to himself. He's like, come on. Yes. Oh, yes. Little just mumblings to himself. Mm-hmm. It's finer details you don't catch. And that's probably just a me thing. I'm sure people are like, okay, whatever. But I
loved it.
It was great. Yeah. That's still fun to think about John Cleese. I'm sure he did a good job, but I still got to praise what they got. They did a great job.
Yeah, it would have been a different film for sure. Yeah. But it worked out. That voiceover worked. I think everybody shined in that movie, in this movie. The next one, Toby the dog's bark is the same as Trusty's in Lady and the Tramp. It's the exact same bark.
Isn't that weird? That makes sense. I'm like picturing both. I'm like, yeah, like I don't think I really put that together, but now that you mention it, it's like, yeah, I can hear them both. That's another movie I remember watching often too.
I didn't write this down because I don't have a definitive answer, but I researched it. I didn't write this down. So Toby the dog, in the cover, the actual image of the poster or whatever for the film, the image of the film is a white and brown dog. In the movie, he's completely brown.
Oh.
And I researched it. I even Google AI'd it and everything. I just wanted to see if they had any reasons. I didn't quite believe them, so I didn't want to bring it out, but I'm going to bring it out. So they're saying it's due to two factors. One of them was like the lighting with shading and everything, which doesn't make a lick of sense. Mm-hmm. And then there's another thing that I forget what it was right now, but they're claiming that he was never white. But like on the cover, he's white. He's white and brown. And then in the movie, he's completely brown. And I was like, that really bugs me because, like, why wouldn't you just fix it?
Right.
Like, it's a very simple fix. So why didn't you just fix it? So that drove me mad. Like, I was not satisfied with what I researched. So that's why I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. I just went on a rant right there.
That
I
almost
went
drove
on
me
a
to
rant.
madness, but it's funny. I'm like, what's wrong, Seth? What's going on? I'm trying to figure out if this dog can wait. I'm just picturing you got like a family member walking in the room as you're doing research. That's well, I guess that's a mystery we
the
don't know,
last
right?
one blew my mind, and I hope it blows your mind as well. So, Norway banned the film for children under 12.
Ooh.
The studio considered releasing it to straight on video because videotapes weren't regulated at the time. And Denmark censors requested 30 seconds to be cut of the film. And then Finland and Sweden released it without any restrictions. So
Wow.
if you watch this movie and you pay attention, you'll know why.
Oh, yeah, we kind of skipped over it, and that's for good reason. There's a bar scene, and it's just all adult, like everything about it. I mean, there's
goodness.
smoking, there's drinking, there's violence, there's knives and stuff, and it's trying to capture that whole like, gang or whatever. Like these are not good people. And yeah, I'll just say there's a performance on the stage. It's very adult. It's like Jessica Rabbit kind of vibes.
Well, you said it doesn't age well, and this is the scene to me that doesn't age well.
Yes.
Like the dialogue in the song is like so inappropriate. I have to interrupt you because I was blown away by how bad it was.
Yes.
So yes,
very, very bad. I'm like, I know we're kind of glancing over, but I was wanting to hear your thoughts on it.
Really bad.
If we brought it up, because
Really
it was not kid friendly.
No.
I get why it's there. If you look at the plot, it's a distraction so that they can get to the hideout. But you just kind of shake your head. Like they could have done that better, especially like you said, the lyrics, that was unnecessary. Not needed. Yeah, I agree.
All right. So it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I hope I get this. Oh, I'm ready though.
All right. It's another true or false. So true or false, the production took only 1 year to complete. True or false?
Oh man, that's probably the most true or false question that's going to trip me up, because I know this was technically one of the first movies Disney used for 3D modeling. CGI, I guess, but it's not. It's like they printed it out from CGI and then traced over it. That's a little fun fact I guess I'll throw in there. So I would think that takes time, but I also know, if I'm kind of like sidetracking a little bit here, but Disney, they needed a hit. The 80s, they were in a tough spot, and that's why this was such a big movie. We can touch on maybe a little more in our final review of they needed this to be a hit. So maybe they were rushing this out. Like, we need to get this out. So I'm almost leaning that way, but I'm like, this I'm gonna go with true. Just go with it.
It's true. Due to the computers that they used, it only took a year. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So actually what I was thinking might be longer was actually why it was faster. Okay. I was overthinking that, obviously. I rambled on too much on that, but that's what I always think of, like that final clock scene. That was, a lot of it was CGI rendered, and that makes a lot of sense. That try and animate a clock tower with all those gears, that would probably take longer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. I got trivia. I'm happy. This is awesome. I'm happy. Well, let's take a look, because we like to kind of see what kind of reviews are out there. We kind of mentioned them beforehand. So, Seth, I got to know, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
All right. The first one we got is another repeat offender. Boba_Fett1138 said, a forgotten Disney masterpiece, 10 out of 10.
Oh, 10 out of 10 masterpiece. They must really like detective stories like me, I would assume. So, but that I don't know if I've heard 10 out of 10 before. Wow. That's interesting.
Stamper says, from Disney's weaker period, and it shows, 6 out of 10.
Still 6 out of 10, above average. I would say yes. It's not going to be, again, everybody's cup of tea, but that's still a respectable review. I can get that.
And lastly, Nathan4 said, forgotten Disney movie, and for good reason, 3 out of 10.
Ooh, nice reviews you got there. You got 10 out of 10, 6 and 3. I kind of like that, though. Nice variety of ratings. Wow. But I could see that. I totally get it. I mean, we touched on a little bit the intensity and the very not kid-friendly scene in this movie. Even if it does move the plot, it's still, I could see that rubbing people the wrong way. So that's awesome, though. I love when there's variety of reviews. It kind of gives you a more realistic clarity on the movie, especially 40 years later. I'm just fascinated to see what people think coming back to it. So I love your thoughts. Any thoughts that you have? Now, we are on Threads. It's a platform that is like your Twitters, your X, and we got some actual memories and thoughts. So I'm going to share a few of them here, and feel free to follow us on Threads. Share your thoughts. We try to post out movies ahead of time. So if you want to get in on the fun, be sure you follow us there. But this is coming from MNick89. He said, I love this movie. It's my favorite Disney animated film, and I just remember rewatching it all the time. So underrated, and I wish Disney would give it more love when they promote older movies, but every once in a while they do. Either way, it's a movie that I'm always glad to watch with whenever the kiddos ask. So there's an example of one that I thought was really interesting. Their favorite Disney movie. What'd you think of that?
Wow, I wish I had nostalgia with this one. I do. I just don't have that, and it was quite jarring. But I can see how some people would grow up and love this movie.
Yeah. I kind of related to him a little bit of just the whole watching it growing up. I was definitely in that boat. This one is from Ian_S.M.C. They said, one of my favorite Disney movies, probably the thing that got me interested in Sherlock Holmes later. Another one I relate to. So big shout out to you there, because so far I'm kind of like, yeah, that's the best way I can put it. This last one, I'm probably mispronouncing it. Al Kavachi 101. So I apologize if I butcher it. I'm good at butchering names here, but it said, love this movie. Basil of Baker Street, my good fellow. So I love that comment. So big thank you for ones that posted on Threads. Again, just another reminder, if you want to get in on the fun, we love to hear memories. So be sure you keep an eye out if you're following us on Threads. Leave a comment, a memory. We might give you a big shout out on episodes coming up. Well, the other thing we like to do our kid test. So watch this with my children. I have a 10-year-old, I have a 8-year-old, 6, and a 3-year-old. All 10 under. I also have a newborn, but I say it all the time, don't count a newborn because I don't know what they're thinking as they're watching these movies. But my 10-year-old, he said that he didn't like it the first time. He watched it years ago when he was younger. He said he didn't like it. And I'm kind of like, I kind of get it, buddy. Like, yeah, this has got some intense moments and things. But he said he would watch it at grandma's. He actually gave it that rating. He said, I enjoy it more now that I'm older. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, I got to make a note of that. My 8-year-old, he said the same thing. He's kind of like, I watched it at grandma's. It's a good, solid movie. I was enjoying it. My 6-year-old said, take it home. But he said it was really scary. So I don't understand that one 100% because I'm like, I get it. But I also think back, I think I was the same way. Like I talked about, I watch this all the time, but I did find the Bat Fidget. We kind of touched on his character. He is scary. He is really intense. Ratigan is obviously taking the cake for most intense and scary, but Fidget is like his right hand Batman, whatever you want to call him. And whoa, he's terrifying too. Like the part at the beginning, like I said, it's a close up of his face coming through the window, and that's pretty terrifying, I would think, for a child. But my 3-year-old, he didn't really seem too phased for it. He seemed okay. So I think what we can gather is it's going to be a view at your discretion. I think there's a lot of things to kind of keep an eye out for. The intensity, like we talked about, there's some frightening images, and definitely not a scene, that bar scene. That's one I would almost recommend just going ahead and skipping that one if you have to, depending on the children around there. So, okay. Well, we're getting down to it. The final rating, Seth. I got to ask you now for The Great Mouse Detective. Let's do it. Let's put our official rating on it. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
Wow. They had a decent story, but they made it too gritty. I would say it's vulgar at points and heavy at other times. I do feel the voiceovers saved it from being completely ruined. Still, I strongly feel I need to hide this in the attic from younger viewers.
Understand that. Right. I will not defend that. The content, it is a frightening movie. It really is. And I want to say when I was younger, I looked forward to watching it, but I was a little frightening. Like it was just the intensity, like you said. Ratigan is just, again, he's a great villain, but he's very scary, like for younger audiences. And I think I have to say, I almost have 2 ratings with this one. If I was to recommend this one, it's more in that middle, watch it at grandma's, because I do think it has aged. And looking back at certain things, I mean, we talk about that bar scene alone, but there's other elements too. The final showdown, as much as I do enjoy that, that's a big payoff for me. I will say it is intense. It's a very graphic. They're going at it, fighting, and like Ratigan gets claws out, and he's swiping at him. It's like, whoa, this is really intense. And I mean, it's not that I like that. I just like that build up. I like that final showdown of these, matching wits, but now they're going at it physically. You're seeing that dynamic. But that's where I say it's probably like a watch it at grandma's if I'm going to recommend this to someone else. I'd give a lot of disclaimer. Just be ready. This is going to probably be frightening for your kids. I was back and forth because, again, if I was younger, I would take this home. I thought about it, and the best way I can describe it is I will fully admit this is a flawed movie, and it's got its issues. But just like another mouse movie, An American Tail, Five Goes West, we talked about that. The last part of the movie just really sealed it for me. It almost does that for this too. I can't go on how much that final sequence just pays off for me. It's a satisfying end, as dark as this movie is. I definitely got the nostalgia classics, but I'm not going to apologize for it because of the experience. I am going to take this one home. It still holds up to me despite those flaws, but I am going to say, I'm not going to defend them in a way. I could see how that could not be people's cup of tea. I fully admit I like mystery and those types of things. So this is, I would say, I take it home, but it's a very niche type of film. I would say you just kind of have to watch it for yourself to see. And that's just my personal take. I mean, at the end of the day, I respect anyone that was like, I don't enjoy it, but I can watch it. I can go back and relive those memories. And I do think, like you said, the voice acting is just so good. One other thing I was going to bring out, like the score. Do you know who did the score for this movie? What else he did? He did the Pink Panther theme.
What?
That was the same. Yes.
No way.
I was thinking that was going to be a fun fact yet. I didn't want to take that away.
If I would have known, I would have made it a fun fact. Wow.
Yes. His name is Henry Mancini.
Mancini. Yeah.
Mancini. See, I butcher names. But yes, he did the score. And
yeah, I have the Pink Panther soundtrack on vinyl.
There you go. So there's another plus of like the score is so good to me. Maybe it's like, okay, it's okay. But that theme.
I did notice the music was good because it doesn't heighten those scenes a lot.
Yes. When you can add a score that adds to it, I go back to that final scene. All throughout that I enjoy, a lot of it is also the score adds to it. But the voice acting, there's a lot of positives in this. I just wanted to put that out there. Like, yes, I'm taking this home, but I recognize it's a flawed movie. Like, I take it home for my own personal benefit, I guess is the best way to put it. And I have to throw this out too. Do you know who did Flabbersham, the father? Speaking about voice acting. Do you know
I looked it up, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Scrooge McDuck. They got Scrooge McDuck in this movie. So he voiced Scrooge McDuck for like 40 years.
Wow.
And they got him. And then when you watch it and listen, it's like, yeah, that's Scrooge McDuck. So again, they're not these big celebrities outside of Vincent Price, but the voice acting, I can't go on enough. I just gush about just how good the voice acting is. If you're paying attention, I think you'll respect it. So
to me, that was the one thing that stood out to me was the voice acting.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Yes. I don't think you can find fault with the voice acting. I mean, there's intense moments, but the actual just quality, the ones they casted, I just spot on. I can't go on enough about it. So, well, there you go, folks. We did it. We covered a movie that is big, turning the big 40 years old. I cannot believe it. It's just crazy to think I grew up with this movie, and here we are. We're watching it 40 years later. This was so much fun. Loved hearing your thoughts, Seth, as a first-time viewing. I mean, I love hearing people's perspective coming back to these kinds of movies today. So this was an absolute blast. Really, really had a great time with it. But before we go, we want to make sure we let ones know. So Seth, where can people find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Movies at Grandma's House, and on TikTok at LADX Media. Feel free to email us movie suggestions, memories, and comments to movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. And we have an excellent newsletter, so check that out, as well as a Patreon with exclusive content for loyal fans. As always, we are brought to you by movieposters.com, so please use code Grandma's House, that's all one word, at checkout for up to 15% off.
There you go. All good stuff. Be sure you're on a newsletter. We'd love to give away free stuff. Courtesy of movieposters.com, you could win a free movie poster. We do it once a month. All you got to do is sign up. It's free, and it's a lot of fun. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house, but don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.